for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make up lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Oh yeah, yo, what up to my pop? Shout out to you, man. I do this for you. Shout out to everybody. Thank you guys for being here on this Monday. Let's get started. We're gonna do the show. You guys know the deal. You drive the show. If you ask the right questions, this show will be as long as you want it to be. If you don't ask any questions, the show will be over extremely fast. I talked about all the results yesterday. It was Sunday. It was the part of this week. But I talked about all the results on Sunday. So we're not going to talk about results of the games per se, but we will get into all the teams eventually. I'm going to talk about some things on the news first, and then we'll go from there. And then we'll talk about the matchups in the different conferences. First thing I want to talk about, fans are upset. They're upset with one particular announcer, and it's Mark Jones from ESPN. If you watched the Colorado game with Stanford, for whatever reason, when Stanford made an incredible play, Mark Jones didn't say shit about it. Mark Jones was so quiet, it's unreal. I'll never understand it. He was just like, yeah, first down, Stanford. Oh, Stanford gets another first down. Oh, that's a penalty on Colorado. He was real mum every time Colorado made a mistake, and anytime Stanford did something good, he didn't say shit. And people are pissed about it. And it got so big, Jack Mack started talking about it. You guys know the kid from Barstool. He's saying you can hear Mark Jones break when the pick happens. The lack of excitement's laughable. And then here's a good one. these guys, Awful Announcing says, the energy here at Folsom Field has been very unique. It's a combination of the BET Awards when you look at the luminaires on the sidelines and a football game. Now, to be fair, back in the day when USC was winning everything, the sidelines were filled with Dr. Dre and Snoop. I vividly remember 50 Cent and other famous artists at that time were on the sidelines. They were there at the games, right? I remember I was on a podcast earlier this year, and somebody said, Rico, are we going to see any famous stars at the Colorado games? And I was like, well, have they made it if the Jonas Brothers are there? Like, who are famous stars today that you would expect at the game? Well, Coach Prime went out and grabbed a bunch of guys. I could remember Little Weezy brought him out. If you go back and listen to that verse that Weezy spits, it is gross. I think he forgot the words to the song. I thought it was embarrassing. I didn't get excited about it. And everybody writes, he's the GOAT, he's the GOAT. To what generation? He's the GOAT to who? How old are you? Do you not remember great music? I just got a problem with it. I think you should be focused on the product on the field. You should be playing out of your mind. And you shouldn't have all this star power at your game unless it's warranted. And when I say warranted, I was watching the locker room, and Coach Prime, after one of the games, after the win, Coach Prime was like letting everybody talk, all the stars, and he was shouting out everybody. And then he didn't even realize who else was in the locker room. And one of the other artists was Lecrae, and now he's a Christian rapper. I really like Lecrae. And when Prime said, hey, you want to say anything? You know, he felt kind of bad because he wanted to give him a platform to talk. And Lecrae just said, you know, it's really nice to see what you guys are building here. Well, I want to tell you, you shouldn't have superstars at your games while you're still building. You don't bring VIPs to the building while it's under construction. You bring it when it's clean, furniture's in it, it's swept, and we're coming to cut a ribbon. Right? You bring it with the power on and everything there. So this team is Coach Prime building a plane in flight. They are not prime. They are not ready to be looked at. They are not ready to be applauded and supported in that regard. They're just not good enough yet. They need to win more. We can't be celebrating this shit. They're bad. And you know what else? It's not that they're bad. Let me rephrase. They are not elite. They're going to struggle to win games. It's going to be ugly. And more importantly, the coaching staff has a ton to learn about one another and how they want to apply their strategy to be successful at the highest level of collegiate football. They are now in the Power 5 of the FBS, and they look ill-prepared. Ill-prepared. Sometimes their talent takes over and they make plays. That's great. But there's something wrong with Colorado right now, and I want to blame the coaching staff, not the players. I refuse to believe the players go out on the field and don't give their all. The players are giving their all. You know, Coach Prime said something the other day, and I really pissed me off, and I'm going to make a video about it again, when he said the players need to love the game the way I love the game, unconditionally give to the game and everything. I want you guys to understand, players will never love the game like a coach loves the game. You've been coaching longer than they've been playing. It means more to you because it's your livelihood as an adult. And have you ever seen a coach laughing on the sideline during a loss? Have you ever seen the coach just hanging out, shooting the shit on the sideline with the players while they're losing? It's never happened. It means so much to them. But you know how many times you can see a group of players off on the side laughing and joking during a loss, during a blowout loss? They're chilling. They're on the bus. They're in the locker room. They're in the showers just grab acid and having a good time. You know why? Because in their mind, it's not their fault. In their mind, they didn't do anything wrong. It's not their fault. Oh, what? I'm on offense, man. The problem's with the defense. I didn't drop that pass. It wasn't even thrown to me. It wasn't catchable. Then there's guys who didn't get in the game at all. They'll be joking and shooting. Hey, man, I can't wait to hit the club tonight. Hey, at least this game will be done. We get back in time to change and go hit that party. I know. I've been there. I've seen these conversations. It's with everybody. Players are like this everywhere. So when a coach comes out and says the players need to match my drive, my love, and everything, I just look at you and I just say, Coach, do you think you're coaching 100 other coaches? Do you think these players don't love the game? They're good at the game. They don't love it. I'm amazing at cybersecurity. It's what I did for 20 years of my adult life. I don't love it. I'm good at it. I can't match your drive. I don't go home and download everything off GitHub and start playing with all the newest tools and trying to figure out. I don't hack my own network, my own server. I have 30 VMs set up. I don't do none of that shit. I do it at work, bro. Some of these players don't love the game. They don't. And they're not going to. And for a coach to have that level of expectation on his players, he's going to be severely disappointed. He's going to be frustrated. It doesn't resonate. Nope. What coaches have to do is breed competition. You have to breed competition. Because with competition comes success. Metal sharpens metal. These guys need to go to practice and need to be fighting for starting positions. They need to be fighting for playing time. They need to be fighting for reps. But when you have predetermined starters, they're not fighting for reps. It's already determined. You cannot do that without depth. You can't do this. Is the greatest thing about USC in the early 2000s, about Bama right now, about Georgia right now, is you went up against better players at practice than you did during the games. Shout out to Jacob Elibro. He just became an MVP. Congratulations, brother. Welcome to the team. But that is what's so important, is when you went to practice, you have to understand that you are going up against better defensive backs, better linemen, better quarterbacks than you're ever going to see on Saturday. And if you went up against better players at practice, well, then you were better than the people you played every single week. But that's not the case, guys. There is no competition at these position groups. There's a misapplication of, I guess, scheme. You ever hear about NFL players getting drafted and they say they can't play at this speed because they're thinking and they can't just react? And once they learn the scheme better, then they can play faster. So by like the time you're a third-year pro, you now know all of the audibles, know all of the calls, know all of the formations, all of the packages, and you can grasp the difference in changes every single week, and then you go out there and you can play full speed. These players can't play full speed. They don't know the schemes. They don't know the packages. They don't know it all. So you either have to spoon feed it to them and slow it down, or you can just say, hey, why aren't they as good as we think they are? Why can't they grasp our concepts? Why don't they know the packages? Why do we have penalties on guys putting themselves in the game when they shouldn't? Why haven't they learned what we're trying to teach them? And I'm going to tell you why, coach. It's because you're trying to feed them and you're trying to make them drink water through a damn fire hose. They don't have the aptitude and the ability to learn all of that and still play at top speed. That's when you start with a graduated system of implementing your system. You can't throw the whole playbook at them, then come to practice and be like, you don't know that audible? Coach Prime made reference to this. He said in overtime, the interception occurred, and he said, oh, you got to see the replay. I haven't seen the replay. But he was trying to imply it was on the receivers for running the wrong routes. Oh, did you see what the receivers did on that play? They ran the wrong route. You cannot hold your team accountable when you try to point the fingers at anybody other than your son. Now, at one point he said, hey, Shedeur shouldn't have thrown the pick. It was a bad play. It was a bad pick, right? But you know why he didn't know not to throw the pick? Because maybe you didn't call a timeout and remind him. Oftentimes, coaches will call timeouts before pivotal downs, and they'll be like, hey, reminder, it's 3rd and 4. They're going to try to hard count you. Don't watch the ball. It's 4th and 3. They're going to try to make you jump. Watch the ball. They'll call a timeout just to talk about that. Just to talk about how you want to apply your game plan and remind everybody. Watch for the fake. Remind everybody, hey, stay in bounds. Don't score a touchdown. Keep the clock running. Stay in bounds. We've seen this before. In pivotal moments of the game, towards the end of the game, they will call a timeout and they'll say, hey, man, we need to fix ourselves. Colorado doesn't do that shit. At no point do I see them call timeouts and then remind the players the levity of that particular moment and ensure everybody's locked in. They just assume the players are going to do it and get there. And when they don't do it, well, then the players ain't shit. Outrageous. I love the players. Love the coaches. I wish the coaches understood how to implement their game plan, their strategy, their philosophy, anything, their scheme. And they learned how to teach young men. I want to tell you guys, the reason I can speak about this so intelligently is because I have to do this every day of my adult life as a senior leader in the military. I have so many things I need to implement within my subordinates, within my platoon sergeants, my staff sergeants, my sergeants, and I know a incremented approach is required or their cognitive load isn't that much, bro. You ever been shopping? You ever been at the supermarket and you're going down the aisles and you start grabbing shit and you throw it in the cart and you're like, hey, we need some of this, we need some of this, we need some of this. After a while, you keep throwing shit in the cart. Guess what's going to happen? The cart gets full. And now shit just falls out on the floor. You can't hold it anymore. Some of these players have shopping carts that are this big, bro. And then some have massive shopping carts like you see at Home Depot or at Costco and shit. Like, some of them can't put anything in their shopping cart. They don't have the cognitive load. It's frustrating to me. It's unfortunate. And it's sad. And I think the problem is within the staff not knowing how to teach adults, young adults. I've been teaching 18 to 25-year-old adults my entire adult life. And I think that that's where the problem lies. There's structurally an issue there of trying to teach these young adults the game. Look, I'm sure Coach Kelly's scheme is complex and it'll answer everything in the world. But Coach Kelly's scheme is not applicable to these young men who don't know the whole scheme. It would make a whole lot of sense if they were doing all the right calls, all the right plays, in all the right places, with all the right packages, if he had been implementing a scheme for 3 years. And now you have a redshirt junior who's been at the school for 4 years and says, oh, yeah, we know this whole package. And now you're on the field and you got it all. And guess what? Now you got a safety like Shiloh Sanders out there looking at the defense going, hey, guys, we got 12 out here. Timeout. We got 12 out here. Timeout. But nobody is counting the players, not even the coaches, and no one's calling a timeout. So we go to the press conference and we say, oh, it's on the coaches. It's on the players. They didn't know what package to be in. One guy was running off, saw something happen. He was dumb enough. He ran back on. It's just dumb. How about you, bro? How about you as a coach watching the players run off the field and you see 2 go on and 1 come off? The math ain't adding up. Call a timeout. Get your shit together. Many coaches call a timeout to get the right personnel on the field. They're pissed about it, but they don't go to the press conference and go, oh, those guys on the field don't know what they're doing. They don't love the game. Do you love coaching? I'm just saying. Just saying. Antonio Brown arrested again. 3rd time this year he's been arrested, not paying his child support. Look, the child support's steep. I got it. $15,000 a month in child support. Go to a judge, get it reduced. I don't care what you got to do. But if it's in the court agreement, an affidavit of some sort, some type of agreement, bro, you're done. You got to pay. And he's not paying his child support. That's a bum move. That's a terrible move. I want you guys to know I was a staff sergeant in the Army. Go look it up. 2013. No, 2011. Staff sergeant. E6. 8 years experience. Check the pay chart. And the judge said to me, you got to pay $2,000 a month. I'll never forget that day. I cried, bro. I cried. $2,000 a month. I don't make shit. I immediately had to move out of my 5-bedroom house that I had just in case when the kids came over, they could have their own room. That was my mindset. That was my thought process. But the judge says I owe $2,000. I can't afford this house. So now I'm on Craigslist renting rooms from women, from elderly ladies. 10 by 10 rooms. Now I can't have my kids come visit me for 2 years. But I never missed a payment. I'll never miss a payment. No way. But I lived in a damn room, renting a room, and it wasn't until I got on my feet, got promoted at work, started making more money, got out of credit card debt, whatever it was that I was doing at that time, and then I finally was able to buy a small house. Then I had extra rooms for the kids. I remember I went and bought bunk beds for them from Rooms to Go. One of my proudest moments as an adult man. I bought them these bunk beds. They slept in them once. They said, Dad, we don't like the bunk beds. We just want to sleep on the couch. I was like, all right. And I just looked at those bunk beds and I was like, damn, they got me. These kids want to sleep on the couch. But their mother said they couldn't come over unless I had beds for all of them. That was just her way of flexing on me. How the hell am I supposed to buy them beds when I'm paying you $2,000 a month? But guys, I've been doing that for a decade. Now it ain't shit. Now it's fine. Right? It ain't nothing. So when I see another adult male out there not paying for his children, it pisses me off. I don't care about the amount. It pisses me off. Because some of us are law-abiding citizens and do the right thing. Some of us do the right thing. Brock Bowers having surgery for his high ankle sprain. That sounds like a really bad sprain. They said 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks. He'll be back for the playoffs. As long as they keep winning. I think without Brock Bowers, Georgia is susceptible to some losses. He's their unicorn. He's their offensive weapon. He's their third down conversion. He's a beast of a player. I can't imagine losing somebody like Brock Bowers and it ain't being shit. Now, shout out to Oscar Delp. He's a good tight end. But, man, Brock Bowers going down, that's a big loss for 4 to 6 weeks. It's worth talking about. I'll make a video about it on TikTok later. I don't want to go into detail on this. I just thought it was funny. There's an article out there written by Total Pro Sports 6 hours ago talking about top 10 busts, NFL rookies that look like busts. Bryce Young's on it. Shout out to me for telling you guys about him not being good. How about Jahmyr Gibbs, a guy I said was one of the worst draft picks because of draft position. Jahmyr Gibbs in the article. Who's next? JSN. I told everybody JSN is not him. He can't get open. He's getting no separation. He's got 4 games in. He's looking at 5, 10, 34, and 13 yards. He's no Tank Dell. I told you guys this. In the NFL, this man is not getting open. Oh, Rico, come on. No. The third corner on every NFL team is covering him. The third corner on every NFL team is covering him. And guess what? The third corner on every NFL team don't respect his speed. They get right on his hip. They jam him. They ain't worried about this dude and his 4.62 speed. I've watched it on tape. Rico, he ran a 4.49. His tape is 4.62 speed. He's dragging a fucking anchor when he runs. He looks like a boat on water. They tell you it's moving, but it ain't moving. You ever been on a cruise ship? It's moving, but you can't tell. JSN is not him. Bust and a half. Shout out to Michael Myers for also being on the list. Michael Mayer's on the list. Your boy Tyree Wilson on the list. Mazzie Smith on the list. It's a beautiful list, bro. It's a beautiful list. I'm just so excited to see JSN on there. The number 1 receiver. Rico, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Ha. Wasn't in my top 10. I watched the tape. That dude is trash. All right, let's see what games we have this week. Then I'll get to the chat. Apologies. Didn't have it all up. I'll pull up the schedule here shortly. NCAA schedule. A little under the weather, but not too bad. we're in week 8. We got games tomorrow. I'll be talking about them at length in tomorrow's show, so make sure you're here for it. Let's go to by conference. First thing we're going to go to is Independence. Independence this week, we got 2 games. We got South Florida at UConn and Army at LSU. One thing I'll tell you about these 2 games, they shouldn't be close. South Florida should win their game. They should. On the road at UConn, you never know what's going to happen. Byron Brown is one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks, redshirt freshman quarterback that you're going to see around. He is the team's leading rusher, 500 yards rushing, 1,600 yards passing. This is a good football player, 12 touchdowns, 5 picks. Their defense is bad. Now, look, they tell you UConn's winning the game, 54%. I like South Florida in the game. I could be wrong. South Florida got smoked by FAU, and UConn just beat Rice. UConn was ahead against Southern Utah. Maybe UConn's better than we think. I don't know. I saw them lose to FIU. That was enough for me. I like South Florida. They just need to go back, stop giving up 56 points in back-to-back weeks. If they're going to give up points like that, you got to take the over in this game. I don't even know the spread on it. Let's go check. Where's South Florida? Who are they playing? UConn. It'll be a green helmet. I could control F it. There it is. 2.5 favorites by South Florida. 54.5. I like the over on that because Connecticut's going to score, and so is South Florida. I like the over on that, and I like the spread for South Florida. I could be wrong on the spread, but I definitely like the over. Shout out to South Florida. It's a decent matchup. And then you got Army and LSU. Are you kidding me? Who scheduled this game? It's at LSU. LSU's favored by 30. Jaden Daniels is bound to do it, but hey, you never know. This game is a part of my money line parlay. You know it's not going to lose, so just throw it out there. Pretty good stuff. I don't know about this 57.5. That sounds like a whole lot, man. That sounds like a whole lot. I like the under. And you never know. Army might be able to no. Army's not keeping that spread alive. I don't think. You never know. Stay away from it. It's crazy. And then we got ACC. Oh, no, we got Conference USA. Conference USA, Middle Tennessee, and Liberty. I'll talk about it tomorrow, but I talked about it on TikTok today, so I'll give you guys some input on this. I really feel like Liberty's a much better team. Liberty's got a complete defense. They're going to score at least 30 points. I like Liberty to win this game. They're going to score at least 30, and they got a complete defense. I know the over is like 35 for team total. I don't know about that, but 32 sounds good. Western Kentucky at Jacksonville State. As long as Jacksonville State has a quarterback problem, they're not winning this game. Jacksonville State's quarterback issue is bad. You can load the box. They can't throw the ball at all. Logan Smothers, just keep an eye on the injury report and see if Zion Webb's playing. If Zion Webb's playing, oh boy, you got a shootout on your hands. Western Kentucky's going to do some things with Malachi Corley. We'll see what happens. They have very bad corners at Jacksonville State, but they got a tough defensive front. Defensive line's real. FIU, Sam Houston State, totally boring-ass game. Don't really want to watch it. Obviously, we're going to watch it. And I'm leaning towards Sam Houston for actually trying to win this game. Sam Houston can win this game. This is one they can win at home. New Mexico State at UTEP, I don't understand it, but that's an MVP-level lock. I'll talk about it another day. There you go. Now, ACC. Boston College at Georgia Tech. Let's see if Thomas Castellanos can pull something out. I think the quarterbacks in this game will be highly productive. Castellanos for Boston College. Haynes King for Georgia Tech. Highly productive quarterback play. Look for overs and yards and all that other good stuff. Pitt at Wake Forest. Pitt's out here trying to ruin seasons and ruin lives. They obviously ruined Louisville. It was bad. Wake Forest looking really bad lately. I like Pitt to win that game. Virginia at North Carolina. I don't know what the spread is, but obviously North Carolina is the better team. Look for North Carolina to put up insane numbers. Insane numbers. Duke at Florida State, MVP level lock. Won't talk about it. Clemson at Miami. I like Miami in this matchup. I know Clemson's been known to beat them, but this is at home. Miami's got the right thing. They got offense. They got good defense. I like Miami in this matchup. Give me Miami to beat Clemson, and that way we can stop talking about Clemson doing any type of, I'm tired of their votes. I'm tired of them getting votes. In the last AP poll, they got votes, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So, there you go. 1 second. Now I'm getting to the chat, y'all. Let's see what we got going on. I'll answer your questions. Remember, ACC related, Independence related, Conference USA related, and anything trending in sports, I got you. First comment, David in Arizona says, good afternoon, Rico. If Notre Dame and USC played again this week, do you think the score would be the same? No, not at all, David. No. I personally don't think Caleb Williams would throw 3 interceptions in back-to-back weeks. So the score wouldn't be the same. Does Notre Dame deserve to win that game? Hell yes. But the score wouldn't be the same. Would it be closer? Would USC win? I don't know about all that. I don't like hypotheticals. But I just don't think Caleb Williams is throwing 3 interceptions in back-to-back weeks. No. So that's an easy one for me to answer. Just keeping it real. Next question. I want to welcome every one of the players to the Players Club, a.k.a. MVP for life, and you know this. What up, Willie Bobo? Thank you for being here. Welcome all the MVPs. We're at 1,400 MVPs so far. We're sitting strong. Shout out to the MVPs that are renewing, that are here for the next week. We keep winning. I hope they keep hitting on all their bets and they make the smart bets. Shout out to them. You think Notre Dame has any chance at all making the college football playoff? Sportsbook Lab, the answer is no. No, they would need... First off, no, the answer is no. They would need every conference champion to have 2 losses to win a tiebreaker. There's going to be people not in the conference championship with 1 loss. There's going to be somebody like that. I'm sure of it. And if I'm not, it doesn't matter. 4 conference champions are getting in. You wouldn't select Notre Dame ahead of Texas. You just wouldn't. All right, Notre Dame has 2 losses. They're not getting ahead of anybody in the playoffs. No way. LSU would be ahead of them if they run the table. But you still got Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Washington, Oregon, all fighting for the playoff spots. That's 9 teams. And I'm not, Florida State, my bad. We got 10. UNC, I don't really think they're going to be there, but you got 10 at least ahead of Notre Dame. At least 10. No way they're even in the conversation. Henry Bellin, shaky first start, but defense carried. Cody Knox, shout out to Henry Bellin. If you guys don't know who he is, Henry Bellin the 4th, the new fill-in starting quarterback for Duke. Yeah, if you were an MVP, you would have known I had this conversation with all the MVPs on Saturday and all week long with the MVPs, just letting them know it doesn't even matter how Henry Bellin plays. It's not that he was shaky. He threw a pick. He's new, all that stuff. He still found Calhoun for a long touchdown, but it doesn't really matter. Duke's defense is the reason they're winning games. It's the reason they blew out Clemson to start the season. It's the reason Duke can dominate games. They have 9 starters returning from last year. They have such an amazing defense. Team speed. Ruthless, relentless. You're not going to get consistent drives on Duke's defense. You might get a freak play, somebody out of position. One of your playmakers might be one of their playmakers one-on-one, but you're not going to get a consistent drive for touchdowns on that Duke defense. Not a chance. No way. Rico Dunn moved the Liberty line from 13.5 to 15. Oh, shit. Shout out to Evan Kramer. They went out and started betting. They pushed that line to 15. Facts, Evan Kramer, and I missed it at 13.5. Damn. I make one video, everybody bets on it. That's just the way it goes. Luckily, I got it right after he posted the video. Well, let's hope it hits. Who cares about Colorado? Like, seriously, did you ever take them seriously? If you did, then that's a you problem. So, Sportsbook Lab, I think Colorado, before the season started, I said they were a 4 to 6 win team. And when I said that, my anticipation was they would win games like the Stanford game. And they didn't. So that immediately removes them from the 6-win total. Right now I'm looking at 5 to 4. But I still felt like they would win 4 games no matter what. Obviously, we're right on pace. I take them serious. They're an FBS level team. They're a Power 5 team. I don't write off anybody. I cover 133 teams. So, yeah, I took them serious. Colorado banned for me. Okay, Abel. Abel Cardina says, hey, they can't even be on the TV. John Wick says, I hope Colorado's coaching staff is watching this. They do watch my channel. They are very aware of who I am. They have not reached out to me via DM since I've started making my videos being critical of them. But I want you to understand they understand who I am and what I am. And they understand that I'm a fair and impartial observer. And I will always do that for the integrity of journalism. I cannot make excuses for some of the things that I've seen. That's the reality of the situation. That defense is Swiss cheese. I think they make plays from time to time. The problem is they don't make adjustments. If a guy's crushing you, double team him. They do that in the NBA all the time. They do it anywhere. Give me somebody to jam him at the line. Give me somebody over the top. Give me a linebacker to cheat that side and take away the slants. Yeah, I don't care what you got to do. Give me the D end and tell him get his hands up and start batting down passes. Like, you can just sit down, call a timeout, bring them over to the sideline, whatever it is, after a series, and give them a strategic play style, a different concept and mindset. I want to tell you, there'll be times a team, I remember in high school, we could play a team, and I could hear the coach saying, don't let them get behind you. You know, we make fun of that concept, and we tell corners, don't let nobody beat you deep. But if you're playing somebody who's way faster than you, then what all that means is get out of your back pedal, turn your hips, and run, and don't let them beat you deep. We'll let you beat them, let them beat you underneath all day long. That is an in-game adjustment. That is you recognizing the individual in front of you is better than you. Don't let them beat you deep. Sometimes they'll tell a defensive lineman, hey, cut that offensive lineman. Don't let him get to the second level. Don't let him get on the linebackers. That's it. Don't let that guard get to the second level. You'll help our linebackers scrape and fill alleys and make plays. And that's all in-game adjustments, very fundamental things that you can say to your players that can change the trajectory of the game. You know, we used to tell running backs, don't bounce it outside. Stop looking for daylight. Hit the hole. Why? Because you kept trying to bounce it outside, but the defense was too fast in their pursuit angles, and you couldn't get there. That defensive end always kept his outside shoulder free. He always set the edge. There was always flowing linebacker. It's a different mindset and concept. I know when I used to play corner, and I'm a corner, I'm a safety, and if I played corner, and we called and we made an adjustment to cover two, if I was rerouting that receiver, I would never give a free outside release. Just couldn't. Because then you're going to hit that cover two window. And my safety couldn't get over in time. It was ingrained in me. 20 years later, I'm like, oh my God. If I'm in cover two, I'm jamming this guy. He does not get a free outside release. He just doesn't. I got to disrupt the timing on this. If we're not having discussions about fundamental things that can impact the outcome of the game, we're failing. But instead, when you get to the sideline, you're having discussions about what package are you in? Were you in that group? Who's not substituting right? What was your formation? What was your alignment? What was this? And we're not having those fundamental talks. And we're not addressing what's happening on the field. We're addressing what's happening in your mind. We're addressing why you can't, what's the word? You can't really, digest the game plan or the scheme. We can't play full speed. You can't play full speed when you're thinking too much. You can't just react and do your muscle memory. And if you're doing that and it's bad habits and it's not good enough, well, then we need to address it. But benching players because they got beat on a 97-yard touchdown and never putting them back in the game, that's not the right answer. That's not the right answer. I saw Travis Hunter get beat on a route and he quit and didn't try to run the guy down. He ran a drag all the way across. He ran a post, a slant, whatever it was, all the way across the field. His yak was insane. Travis didn't start running. He wasn't running. And you know what's crazy is you could say, well, he wasn't going to catch him anyways. I don't care. You pursue. Maybe your teammate will cause a cutback. Maybe your teammate will slow him down, and maybe he'll break your teammate's tackle, but he'll slow down enough for you to catch up. You just pursue. You give effort, and you can't give effort if you're tired. And you can't give effort if it's not required of you every single day on that field in between those whistles. You just can't do it. You can't turn it on like that. It's not how it works. That defense, happens on all teams. Correct. Culture falls on those assistants also. What are they not enforcing? Everything shark in the box. I have an issue with the assistants' application and implementation of the game plan, for sure. More good players equals competition. Metal sharpens metal. Don't think Colorado has that yet. I agree. Shout out to Jacob Alibrio for becoming an MVP. Thank you for supporting the channel and supporting yourself. You'll win more. Go watch the MVP videos on the playlist. I agree with you on Coach Kelly. He's a bad defensive coach. John Wick, I don't necessarily know if he's bad. I think that he's not good at conveying his scheme if it's successful, if it's theoretically successful. And I don't think he's good at making the players an extension of himself on the field. If the players don't replicate what your game plan is, you're not a good coach, right? We'll just say that. Maybe he knows what he wants. Maybe he wants to get it done. But if you're a world-class singer and then you start giving out singing lessons and vocal lessons and you can't get anybody else to sing the way you do, then are you really a good singing coach? Probably not, right? So I don't even know what Kelly's accolades are. I don't even know what he's good at. I've never seen him succeed anywhere outside of recruiting. He's a phenomenal recruiter. He convinces all the best players to come play for him. He did it at Bama. He can win in recruiting. He's a hell of a recruiter. But so are a lot of the members of Coach Prime's staff. What I want to know is, do they do that other side of the job? Which is get the players to emulate you on the field, to implement your game plan. Assistant coaches nowadays aren't loyal to the head coach. These young coaches want to be buddies with the players. Oh, boy. You know what? There's a book out there. It's called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. It's an 80-page book. If you're an executive level leader, if you're a boss, you should get that book. And you should make it a required reading for all your employees. So in the Army, we do something called NCO Professional Development, NCOPD. And I taught an NCOPD about this book to my leaders. I run a business. I run a company of 150 people in the Army. And I have leaders and people that work for me. And one thing I noticed is when I had my weekly meetings, I would have these command and staff meetings with my company. The platoon sergeants would sit at the table, and they would only be advocates for their platoon. Let me explain. When you're a platoon sergeant, that means you're more like a position group coach. So if we're having a defensive meeting or a meeting with all the coaches, and you say, hey, we're having problems with XYZ. Some coaches will zone out and not listen because it doesn't pertain to them, because they're not having that problem. Let me make this more relatable to you guys. If you were running a business and there was a staff meeting and there was like marketing and there was advertising and IT and all these different sections, and we're all there, and then the CEO sits down, the head coach, the CEO sits down, and he says, hey guys, we're having a really hard time finding new employees. And the IT department goes, well, we ain't having no problem with that. We're good. And HR goes, ain't our problem. You guys got to do better advertising. And the advertising agency over here the recruiters, the headhunters, they're looking for help. They're looking for ideas. They're looking for somebody to help them. But every single section and every single lead of those sections doesn't even care. Because they're not loyal to everybody at that table. They're not loyal to everybody there, right? Like I used to do these things called taskings. And I would say, I need 3 guys to go here. And everybody would fight me. Every single one of these platoon sergeants would sit at that table and go, I got nobody available. We're busy. I got everybody tapped out. Look, here's my manning roster. Everybody's allocated to these things. I can't give up a guy. And then he'd go, well, I can't give up a guy, but, one of them's going to have to give up a guy. And now you got everybody pointing fingers at the table, trying to protect their subordinates, trying to protect their position group, trying to protect their players from getting tasked out to go do something out of the norm. Because they're loyal to their position group, because they're loyal to their platoon, because they're loyal to their section at work. But wouldn't it be really cool if all of the heads of each department were loyal to each other? What if that was your battle buddy? What if that was the dude you're thick as thieves with? What if your best friend that you had lunch with every day was the head of marketing, and you only went to lunch with the head of marketing, the head of security, the head of IT, what if all you guys were tight as fuck? Like, what if you guys were the crew? Then you would want to help out your battle buddy. Then you would care about that guy over there. Then you would care about their problem over there. You wouldn't just come to the table, cross your arms, and say, I can't help you, Top. I can't help you, CEO. I can't help you, Coach. I only got so many players. I can't help you. These are my guys. I'm protecting them. And that's the problem. The dysfunctions of a team are when the loyalty is not to one another in that upper ring of management, in that second level of management. If these position groups and these position coaches and these offense and defensive coordinators, if they're not all committed to each other, instead of being advocates for their subcomponents, you will fail. You become compartmentalized. Then you start having overachievers in certain sections. Then you have the advertising and marketing group go, oh, we're losing money as a company? It's not my problem. We're doing great in marketing. Sounds like IT sucks. Sounds like you need to make some budget cuts over there, and your company fails despite you having 5 or 6 really accomplished players or sections, right? So when you see a football team like Colorado and you see the coach identifying certain individuals as being better than others or more successful than others, you're alienating the concept of a team, and you're misunderstanding that is the dysfunctions of a team. It's in a book. I didn't make it up. I just know how to apply it. I just know I've been highly successful at an executive level position for 2 decades. I'm not talking out of my ass. I've been running organizations. I know this stuff. And it makes sense. When I tell you about it, you'll think about that guy at work who don't give a shit about the other section. You'll think about that person who only advocates for his own subordinates and no one else. You'll think about that person who is not loyal to the other leaders of the organization. You might be in charge and have managers that act this way. You might be a subordinate and you think it's cool. Let me tell you something. The people at the lowest level, the players, the employees, the privates, they all think it's great that they have a leader that advocates for them. They all think it's awesome. Yeah, he's got my back. He keeps it real. I'll never forget, and this is subtle, we had this morning formation, and I was a private, and my sergeant told us if we did something really well, we were going to go play basketball that morning. And we wanted to run 5s. We wanted to play basketball that morning. And at the formation, first sergeant said, nobody's going to the gym. It's cold as shit out here. I know it is. But you need to learn how to train in the cold. Everybody's running 5 miles. Take your platoons on 5-mile runs. And all the platoon sergeants saluted and roger that, first sergeant. First sergeant turned around. That one platoon sergeant I had, he said, forward, march, and started marching us to the gym, defying our boss, defying the first sergeant, the head coach, the CEO. And when first sergeant stopped him and said, hey, where the F are you going? He said, I promised my guys I'd take them to the gym. First sergeant pulled his ass to the side and said, you promised your guys that you would obey every command and every order given to you, and you would do it to the best of your ability. You can get them to the gym another day, another time, but you've been given this task right now. And as privates, we all thought our platoon sergeant was cool. We loved that he went and did that for us. Guess what? 20 years later, I now know that platoon sergeant was a shitbag, piece of shit, substandard leader who didn't understand there are levels to this shit. Somebody's in charge of you. You answer to somebody. You're breaking apart the team. Why couldn't you go out and run those 5 miles and try to beat another platoon? Say, my team's better than your team. Hey, guys, let's race this morning and see who's faster. And build esprit de corps and get us all to work with as a team and try to run our 5 miles faster than that other team. And then tell them, hey, you want a rematch? We'll play you basketball next week. Bring it, bitch. Well, whatever. It's a different mindset. But when you got position coaches, coordinators, subordinate leaders on their own wavelength, their own bucket of shit, and they don't listen to who's in charge, and they can't duplicate what the leadership's asking, well, you're going to fail. I'll get off my soapbox. I've done this for a long time. I know how to handle that shit. Hunter can't be on both sides and expected to be Superman. The kid is a kid. Choose a side. I think he's limited. I think he's limited speed-wise. I don't think Travis Hunter runs under a 4.440. I don't think he runs under a 4.540. I think Travis Hunter's not very fast. He's fast enough, but he's not overly fast. I've seen it on tape. I've paid attention. He has no recovery speed. He's a great athlete. Amazing athleticism. Really uncanny, I guess unique and with innate traits. He just has a little wiggle to him. He's good. He's elusive. Top end speed, not there. So when you make a mistake, it's magnified. Yeah, it's similar to Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman at corner. Richard Sherman couldn't turn and run with the best of them, but he had the fundamentals to do what he needs to do. I think Travis Hunter needs to get dedicated to the weight room, to a weight conditioning program. He needs to get dedicated to becoming a professional football player. That's it. Become professional at your craft. 17 penalties. Oh, my goodness. It's a lot of penalties, bro. It takes time to build the culture, though. It does. Only first year, without a doubt. Love the growth of your channel, dude. Rad Remington, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. We're trying to grow. We're sticking with it, being consistent. I know I'm the best there is. It's just a matter of time before the other people find out. It's a matter of time before decision makers find out. I am not average. Nope, I'm ready, bro. I'm ready. He holds the ball too long, too. Don't you think? Yes, I personally do. But there are quarterbacks that are applauded for extending the play with their legs and letting it go. My bigger issue is not the duration of time that he holds the ball. It's his decision-making with the ball. I watched him run out of bounds twice, and I watched him take 3 sacks that were unnecessary. And to be very clear, when you run out of bounds with the football behind the line of scrimmage in college, it is a sack. It counts as a sack. It is credited to the nearest defender before you ran out of bounds. Whoever was closest to you, they get credit for sacking you in college football. So, Shedeur Sanders has sacks that are not contact related. They're just him running out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage, not throwing the ball away. And you don't need to throw it up for grabs. You can just throw it out of bounds like many quarterbacks do. Hunter definitely needs to just play one side, and Rico is right. Wide receiver. Thank you. He was getting cooked on defense. He was getting cooked at Jackson State as well. That's where I got the tape. A lot of people say it was his first game back. He was tired. This is why I showed you guys film of him getting cooked by transfer FBS level wide receivers to the FCS. Understand what I'm saying? They were playing Alcorn State last year. Alcorn State had wide receivers that were transfers from the FBS. Transferred down to HBCU, bench warmers at Rutgers, and they were still good enough to beat Travis Hunter. And this was not when he was tired, not when he was recovering from an injury. This was Travis Hunter is not good enough to cover these receivers. And I had film proof, showed it, and people are still in denial about it. Shout out to Louisville for messing up the trifecta. Really want to see that. If you don't know, TD Florida 2 and a bunch of guys asked for a trifecta. Well, they asked for a money line parlay. I picked 3 teams in the ACC that could not lose Saturday, and Louisville was one of them. The other 2 were Duke and Florida State. And, of course, Louisville lost to Pitt, ruined our trifecta money line parlay. It would have been great. Didn't happen. You see dude on the airplane, former NFL player. Shark in the Box, I made a video about it. You're talking about Sergio Brown. Sergio killed his mother. They couldn't handcuff him, but they were extraditing him to Tijuana, and he started losing his mind. He wanted to jump out the plane. He was attacking people. I don't know what his deal is. Shout out to the lady who walked up and thought she's a physician and she could make everything better. Had no idea he killed his mother. If she knew he killed his mother, she would have never got that close. Or maybe she would. I've seen white ladies do worse things. So some Mexican lady doing that, no big deal. TCU passing yards, my go-to regardless of it's Morrison or not. Sonny's offense is going to pass, and whoever he recruits is going to be a passer. Alan Morris, unfortunately, it's not Big 12 day today. That's Wednesday. But I agree with you. TCU used a new quarterback this week, and it did not matter. He threw for 400 yards. Incredible. That's coaching error to a T. Two big egos, and the boys were panicking, but try not to show it. Will H., I didn't see a lot of panic. What I saw was I saw people not being decisive in the moment. I saw people not being decisive in the moment. The moment's happening, and Coach Prime went to the press conference and he said, some people aren't built for, our players aren't built for the moment right now. But what he doesn't, the irony behind it, I don't think he was built for the moment to make adjustments in that moment. I don't think he was built for it. He let it happen. He let the penalties occur instead of calling timeouts. He let his son ask for the ball again on offense. And for everybody who can't understand the concept and what the issue is you get that ball in offense, you can't win the game. You still need your defense to win the game. You got to go on defense. And then you know what to match. Shout out to Stanford for running the ball 3 times and kicking a field goal because they knew all they had to match was 0 points. They knew all they needed was a field goal to win. You know why they knew that? Because they went on defense first. It's that simple. I was a walk-on football player at UCLA. Military is different. You guys are built different. Some coaches are like you, but a lot of assistants aren't. Yeah, that's fair, Shark in the Box, but I want to explain something. We're not built different in the military. We are created over time. Everybody joining the military is not like me. Everybody joining the military is not great. You're not great innately. It's not like you were born with it. It's something that happens. You either get with the program or you fade away. You ever met somebody who says they did 4 years in the military? I have. I meet them all the time. They like to let me know. And then I look at them and I go, all right, thank you for your service. And I keep it moving. Because I know what those guys were in my formations. They were temporary. They weren't careerists. They weren't leaned upon for decision making. They just weren't the same breed. They weren't cut from the same cloth. Now, you tell me you're retired first sergeant, you're retired sergeant first class, you're retired master sergeant, sergeant major, retired colonel, whatever it is, I start looking at you a lot different. Because we identified those individuals in the formation and said, these are the guys we need leading. These are the individuals we need making decisions moving forward. When you got players on football teams, I would imagine, many of us can relate, that we look across our roster and we say, these are future coaches, and this is a guy that probably shouldn't be coaching. And he's going to be the same person. There's going to be a guy who says, oh, I used to play college ball. I'm a D1 player. Oh, I used to play high school ball. I'm this, that. I was all state. I was all conference. I was all that. Okay. Well, there are certain people on that roster who should be coaching, and there's some who you said, man, that guy, I could have never seen that guy being a coach. That's kind of how it works. Not everybody's built for it. I feel you, though. Appreciate you. As soon as the refs mentioned the DJ taunting, I was dumbfounded and knew they were on Stanford's side. Not necessarily, Nick. The way that worked, I don't think referees don't score 29 points, okay? Referees don't score 29 points. When the referee mentioned that the PA announcer should not be playing music while Stanford's in formation, I'd imagine that's something they saw on film, the coaching staff, and they gave the refs a pre-warning. Before the game, they said, hey, ref, can you please look out for this? This is happening. Or they talked to him about it on a commercial break. And then they addressed it. That's not that's not favoritism. That's good. That's fair, bro. That's what it is. Nick, you're tripping. The refs weren't on anybody's side. They're doing their job. Coaching staff went into panic mode. Very bad decision-making. Coaching arrogance is what I called it. Travis getting cooked and 0 double coverage was rolled on the player, giving it to him. Totally agree, yard man. I don't understand. You've got a middle linebacker in Trevor Woods. He's a former safety. You can move him to outside linebacker on that side. You really could. And just say, hey, help out on the slants. And now Travis can sit there with an outside, alignment and take away the fades. And now we got double coverage. That way. Give him help over the top. Whatever it takes. It can be done. It's kind of a GOAT show with all the cameras and stuff, too. There's cameras everywhere. Probably some jealousy amongst players. Sanders laying some hits, though. Shiloh's laying hits, sure. Jealousy among players. I don't know. I'd imagine there's some people upset about their lack of playing time. I'm really frustrated with the running back position and the way they're rotating it. I really am. Alto looks like the best option for pass blocking, maybe even Savion Wilkerson. But to see Hankerson come in overtime and be the primary back, that was weird. To see them giving it to Edwards over and over when it's not effective, weird. I don't understand what's going on. I just don't. There's no rhyme or reason to the substitutions and the application of your players. It just doesn't seem strategic in nature at all. It seems like they promised a quarter to each player. That's what it looks like. NC State is the second worst team in the ACC. They won't win another game this year and will go 4-8. So Hudson, going 4-8 and not winning another game does not take away from the fact that when I watch NC State, they aren't the second worst team in the ACC. NC State's better than Virginia. They're better than Syracuse. They're comparable to Virginia Tech. Yeah, I don't have a problem with NC State. Like, I love their defense. They got some good players. They're just struggling on offense. But don't get it twisted. They're not the worst team or the second worst team. Watch this NFL player. I don't know who that is. Not a question, just a huge rest in peace to the Wisconsin Badgers season. Talk about it tomorrow, Rico. Hey, Bobby Albright, I will talk about your Wisconsin Badgers tomorrow. AB was wilding on Instagram live last night, blaming the Bills for Damian Harris' neck injury. Oh, what a ridiculous thing to say. What a crazy thing to do. Injuries happen in the game. Chandler Jones going crazy again, leaking Budda Baker and Isaiah Simmons' numbers on Instagram. Lock him up, bro. Lock him up. He and John Jones should be in jail. I can't deal. How many more years? Shark in the box. How many more years of child support do I owe? 5. 5 years. Georgia is susceptible to losses even with Brock Bowers. Just saying. Fair? Touche. Jahmyr Gibbs just ain't getting any touches. Yep. He's been explosive when he's gotten the ball. With Montgomery hurt now, hopefully he'll get a good amount of usage. Evan Kramer, are you celebrating an injury? Are you saying now that Montgomery's hurt, you're getting excited about a rookie getting more usage? How dare you, Evan Kramer? How dare you celebrate an injury? How dare you be excited for Jahmyr Gibbs and his career? You planning? 1 second. Chat jumped on me. I'll be right back. I don't know what just happened. You planning on that Kai Jones video, Rico? Bobby Albright, I'll get to it, man. I get really busy. I had some things going on. I had a long meeting today with a realtor. Came over to the house. I have meetings and stuff, bro. It's not all gravy. I obviously want to make a video about Kai Jones. It's funny. I think he's still talking crazy, saying he's player of the year, defense player. He made a post about something today. Dude's nuts. Rico knows. Are my Boston College Eagles going to get the win this Saturday? Georgia Tech's not a slouch. And if you ask me personally, no meter green, I like Georgia Tech in that matchup. At home, Brent Key knows what he's doing. I like the way Haynes Keys is. I just like Haynes King. I just like the way, and Haynes is the other star receiver / running back. They moved him to Jamal Haynes? Jamal Haynes? I used to watch him play at Grayson in high school. But they moved him to running back, the little wide receiver, the little slot back. I like Georgia Tech in the matchup, bro. Hate to break it to you. Peace, Unc. What up? Peace, Bascott Brooks. Thank you for being here, bro. Going to Duke FSU game Saturday should be an amazing atmosphere. Oh, that's pretty fucking awesome, Evan. Evan's going, right? Riley Leonard looking good to go for this week. I don't know. They told me he was out 3 to 4 weeks. I don't know if he's ready or not. I'll double-check injury reports. Duke and FSU is going to be an exciting game. Notre Dame exposed pretty boy Caleb Williams this weekend. Most definitely Mike Schmidt. Most definitely. What's your take on Duke and FSU? I didn't hear it. It's an MVP level take, Trayshawn. I'm giving it to the MVPs, not giving it out in public. Sorry. Become an MVP, you'll know what I think. Riley Leonard, a transfer candidate. Bet Saban would love to have him. Mike Schmidt. I'd imagine Riley Leonard could be a transfer candidate, but what I would say is he's probably going to follow wherever Mike Elko gets hired. Like, I think Mike Elko's getting hired. I think somebody's getting fired, and Mike Elko's getting hired, and when he gets hired, he's bringing his quarterback with him. How about that? Something to think about. We'll see what happens, but that's how I feel right now. Remember to keep all questions ACC related, Conference USA or Independence. Thank you, Evan Kramer. How do you feel about Trent Dilfer and his coaching future? I believe that's the American. That's the American. Wrong conference, wrong day, Mike Schmidt, but thank you. Rico, I have a huge future bet on UNC to win the national championship. Do you think I need to do it is beat FSU? Do you think I need to do is beat FSU? I think that's an absurd thing to have the bet on. But congratulations. Good luck. They got to beat FSU. They have to win the ACC championship. Then they have to win the playoff game and then the national title. There's 4 must wins there. 4. It's not impossible. It's not probable, but it's not impossible. I'm with you. Yeah. Terry Rozier says, hot take, Georgia Tech can make the ACC championship. Hold on. Let's find out. Whoo boy. They'd have to win out. They'd have to win out and hope Florida State loses. I think that's what has to happen. Win out and hope Florida State loses. Yeah, it's not happening, bro. Their wins are a miracle against Miami that they should have lost, Wake Forest, and SC State. Come on, bro. They lost to Bowling Green. This ain't happening. No, they'll win, lose, possibly win, lose. They got 3 more losses in them. They're going to have 6 losses. They might go 6-6 and go bowling. They ain't going to no ACC. Hot take. They might go bowling. Hot take. Any idea how long Jahir Jordan's out? No, but if you want to know, Odds Trader College Football will give you injury reports. And then you're going to go in here and you're going to search for Louisville. Who are they playing this week? Where's Louisville? Are they on a bye? Am I tripping? Yeah, they're on a bye. So, I won't even see a matchup on them in here. Last week. Oh, let me just click on injuries and see if that comes up. Injuries by team. You can go in here. Odds Trader is where it's at. Jahir Jordan, questionable 2 days ago. Departs with injury. Yeah, it just says questionable right now. So it doesn't say out right now. We'll see. Just keep checking this back. It says estimated return 28 October after the bye week. So maybe he'll be back. You never know. Just this is your go-to spot for football injuries. Check injuries here. Check it every day, especially if you're a gambler. Check it every day. That's your go-to spot. Odds Trader. Can UNC make the college football playoff? Yes, they can. They're eligible. WTF is good with Pittsburgh. So they made a quarterback change. Let's talk about it. They made a quarterback change. Important. They moved their shitty quarterback to tight end. And then they discovered Christian Villieu is not a good passer, right? For under 50%. But they discovered that they can just play tough defense. Tough defense, bro. This is good play. This is good football right here. 3rd and 4th quarter, not letting Louisville score on them. But look, man, did they really dominate this game? They gave up 430 total yards. I don't think Pitt's the better team at all. But it happened, bro. It happened. There's nothing we can do about it. 3 turnovers. They decided to give, but this is highly dominant with the exception of the 3 turnovers. Highly dominant. And they just figured out they can play good defense. Shutting out Louisville in the second half. That's it. I'm still not impressed with Pitt. Not impressed with Pitt. I'm letting you know that now. So when you look at Pitt's schedule and they play Wake Forest this week, you got to think about it, bro. You got to think about it. Not impressed with Pitt. Good point. Oh, I see, Rico. That's a good point on Coach Kelly. Thank you. UNC ain't beating FSU. FSU is getting beat. We got homers up in here. He did get hurt at Jackson State. Yes, he did. He came back when he was healthy. Travis is still young and has a lot to learn. He will get better. Yeah. Travis missed 3 to 4 games at Jackson State. Yeah, we know, Chop. We watched every game at Jackson State, man. We know. Colorado is all hype. Stanford is awful. They are awful. Colorado's loss was completely on Coach Prime. The nepotism and stat padding for Shedeur Sanders lost the game. They have excellent running backs. Should have used them. What made you decide? Give me a second here. What made you decide to serve, Rico? Thank you for your service. Never knew you were a veteran. Oh, you don't watch the content. There's a whole playlist on YouTube called About Me, and I talk about all this stuff. So what made me decide to serve? Well, I was playing JUCO football, getting ready for my JUCO football season, and I just felt like I needed to get away. I was 19. I was dealing with a breakup. I just broken up with my girlfriend. I want to say I was probably heartbroken, but not really. Like, now that I'm an adult, I know it wasn't really heartbroken, but at the time you think it's heartbroken. And that'll just drive you to want to go places and do things. And I wanted to see the world. I felt like my significant other wasn't in my AO. It wasn't in my area of operation. Like, wasn't near me. I felt like where I was living, there could be more adventure. And my older brother, my twin brother, and my younger sister were all in the military. And they were all succeeding. They were all doing really well. And I thought, well, if they're doing good in the Army, I'm better than them. I'll be better than them. And my first year in the Army, I was named Soldier of the Year for my brigade, my installation, and my MACOM. And it was really it was a really easy transition for me. I was in phenomenal shape. I was kind of a gift to the Army at that point. I was military intelligence. I was I'm really smart. And I didn't get to go to war right away like I wanted to. They sent me to school for 52 weeks. Just last week, I was showing Kim some of my military, like she's seen all my awards, my documentation. You get a lot over the 20 years, right? But something that's really cool is I kept some of my old paperwork when I was becoming an electronic engineer, like some of my old classwork and stuff. Like there's formulas on the chart and voltage drops and schematics and stuff. And it's so complex. And I just showed it to her. I just handed it to her. And she's like, what the hell is this? And that's what I used to do. Now I'm a cyber guy. But obviously I'm a sports guy. But I decided to join because I'm competitive. I thought I would succeed at that walk of life. I kind of kept re-enlisting. I re-enlisted 5 times. Every re-enlistment had a different reason for re-enlisting. So the first one was choice of duty station. The next one was a bonus. The next one was to deploy. The next one was choice of duty station again. And then the last one was I wanted to just retire. I wanted to be indefinite and serve forever. So my last re-enlistment was at 12 years. And by that point, I was already a sergeant first class E7. And I already had been a senior leader for many, many years. I became an E6 in 4 years. And so I never looked back. Like I was just always in leadership positions, always built for this, always committed to it and in the moment and focused. Became an E8 in 15 years. And the only thing that stopped me is I started succeeding at this. And I said, I don't want to be a sergeant major. I don't want to serve anymore. I'm good. And this is a lot more lucrative for me. So let me just put that away and let me go do this thing here. And I love this. I love being a social media journalist, a sports journalist. I love being able to make a living doing something that I'm passionate about. It's a blessing. And not a lot of people are courageous and brave enough to do it. And it's still difficult every day. But just like when I joined the military, you just got to do it face first, bro. You just got to do it 2 feet, 10 toes down, stand up on your own and be great. But if you're going to do anything, do it with everything you got. And I do this job with everything I got every single day. Every day. There are days I'm laying in bed and I say, man, I got to get up. And I have the discipline to get up. And I still go for my runs in the morning. I still push myself and get everything done. And it's all derived from, a childhood and an innate work ethic. It's not military driven. It's ingrained in me from my childhood, from my father, from my parents, from my, it's my DNA. So it worked for me, bruh. It doesn't work for everybody. I don't recommend the military, everyone. I don't think everybody's built for it. Jason Parkinson says, facts. Veteran here, Master Sergeant USA E7. There we go. We're built different. We were all nervous at first, then quickly realized how strong we can become. There you go, Jason. And, you know, what's important from a guy like Parkinson is he's a Master Sergeant. I'm a Master Sergeant. In the Army, we call our Master Sergeants, but we're E8s. They're E7s. I respect the hell out of any E7 and above. I think they've all earned their keep. They're all they're considered senior NCOs. They have enough experience and enough vision to see it from every echelon, whether it be the lowest level to executive level leaders. You get exposure to everything. I have a lot of respect for E7. So shout out to you, Jason. Rico, hope you're doing well. Derek Newcomer, I'm doing as well as I can. Good morning. Thank you for being an MVP. Look forward to you getting your black badge and becoming an MVP for longer than 1 month. Some of you guys have the black badge. Congratulations. Rico, how many more wins do you see Pitt getting this year, the rest of the season? At most, I can see them getting is 3 more. Well, let's look at Pitt. We're already looking at them here. They have 2 wins. 1, 2, 3 wins. Max. So 5 wins total, max. You're on it. At best. I know you're busy, Rico. This Kai Jones shit is just hilarious. Bobby, I hear you, man. I hear you. I just have other things going on. Evan Kramer says, Riley Leonard getting drafted because ESPN decided he's the 3rd best quarterback in this draft. Yeah, I know. They're feeding it to the world. I don't see the Riley as a super elite passing quarterback. Brian Yu, he's definitely an NFL caliber quarterback, from my assessment. I'm late, but Hill's on top. Drake May for Heisman. I called that UNC minus 10 Saturday. Jeremiah Spencer sure as hell did. Congratulations. And yes, Drake May is probably, for me, a finalist for the Heisman at this point. What do you think as Miami is plus 3.5 against at home to Clemson? Man, that whole comment is fucking crazy, bro. I know what you're trying to say, but as English goes, what do you think as Miami plus 3.5 or 3.5 against at home to Clemson? Like, it just looks crazy. If I wrote that, I would have deleted it and then rewrote it. I don't know. Anyways, I like Miami against Clemson. I think they're competitive. I think they match up well. It's a coin flip either way. You pick either team. I just trust Miami's offense more than Clemson's. I really do. I also think the under's in play in this game. I don't know what it is, but I think the under's real just because Clemson's offense will struggle. They always do. Georgia Tech would need Louisville to lose another conference game as well. Yes. Need another year of Leonard in college football. Not worth it for him to go, in my opinion. Unless y'all seeing him being a franchise quarterback, but I'm not so sure on that. So, he doesn't need to be a franchise quarterback. Just needs to be a first rounder for it to be worth it in regards to contract money versus NIL. So, be a first rounder. He should go. If he's a first round grade, he's going. I got Miami winning. Clemson is soft. Pause. Brian, you make Clemson really hard. Louisville lost because of the interceptions, plain and simple. Plain and simple. What day is SEC and Big 12? Big 12 is Wednesday. SEC is Thursday. How do I become in the MVP? Trey Sean, there's a link in the chat here. In the details, there's a link. Click the link. It's right here in the details. You click the link, you become an MVP. Plumber was doing plumber things. You can't use the app of YouTube. You got to use the browser version of YouTube. Plummer was doing plumber things. Remember, he almost cost him a few games before the Notre Dame game. Correct. I just found you last week, Rico. I'm starting to watch the content. There you go, Mike Schmidt. Trey Sean, there is a pinned video on his TikTok homepage with instructions. There's also one here on YouTube. If you go to my homepage, it should just start playing, but you cannot use the browser, or you can't use the app version of YouTube. You got to use the browser version. So go use Safari. It'll prompt you. Do you want to use this app to make it easier? No. You want to use the browser version. Use a laptop, an Android device, a desktop, but don't use the app of YouTube on your iPhone. It will not come up. You want to hit join on the browser version of YouTube. Hope I made that very clear. Hey, guys, thanks for being here. We're going to call it a show. I'll be posting videos. We'll get that Kai Jones video up in the next 48 hours. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all. See you tomorrow. We got a watch party.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do, to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love, those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen